Welcome everyone to the raw and uncut version of the Sellout Show. This one really blew my mind. So we have Thomas Buchanan again from Modus Engagement because he recently won an award for being one of the best sales development reps using video. And Vidyard was the one that gave him the award. So the VP of Marketing, Tyler Lessard, came on and shared with us some of the reasons that Thomas won, but dropped some amazing flush dollars.
This is so good, y'all. Okay, if you know you need to use video, you should be using video. But if you're curious about how to get started, use it, be effective, or get better at it, wow, there's some really, really, really cool stuff in here. Thomas actually dropped something that was so brilliant about a call to action that Tyler said, oh, I'm going to take this back to our sales team. And then actually, Tyler makes a promise in here about something if you call on him, he will respond in a specific way. But you have to watch to find out. That's good.
It's that good. All right, here we go.
Let's do it.
All right, fantastic. So welcome everyone to the Sellout Show where we are always sold out. I am Diana Guerin. I am the irreverent sales girl where my mission is to bring a dash of dignity to the art of selling.
Hey everyone, I'm Shawn Sandy. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer of the Selling Agency where we coach humans how to sell to other humans. Because if you sell like it's that week between Christmas and New Year forever and you never get out of sweatpants and you're kind of in a ham coma, you're just never going to hit your quota.
You never will. You never will. So I'm so excited. You'll notice that we have a return guest, Thomas Buchanan. The magic of Modus is here with us today. And I just don't know how you get your work done. You're such a rock star. Everyone wants you for content. But we also have Tyler Lessard, who, as you know, we have been talking about video and Vidyard a lot on the show. And Tyler recently gave an award. I'll let him tell about it, like how it got started and why they gave it to Thomas. But we're really excited to have you for two reasons. The first one is we'd really like to acknowledge how great video is for selling, but also we're still working on cracking that code for using video for prospecting. So Tyler, would you like to tell a little bit about yourself and how it was that Vidyard gave the award to Thomas?
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me. So Tyler Lessard, I'm actually VP Marketing at Vidyard here. So I come from the marketing side of the business. But as we all know today, that means I spend most of my time with sales and understanding sort of how they're going out to market, how they're actually getting people's attention. And I love that part of what I do. So at Vidyard, for those of you who don't know, we're a video technology company. And one of the products we launched a little while ago was our GoVideo app for making it easy to record and send personal videos. And one of the interesting things, actually, that product manifested from our own sales team. So in the early days, we were trying to give our own sales reps an advantage, and we were pushing them to record and send videos as part of their outreach. And they were, there were some good scrappy millennials, and they were like, no problem, I can go in, I can record it in QuickTime, I can upload the MP4 to here, I can embed a thumbnail image, send it off. And, it worked, but it was, incredibly inefficient. And our savvy product team went, well, you know what, we can do better than that. So they actually built a Chrome plugin to make it super simple to record and send. And the rest is history. We end up productizing that, and wonderful teams like Modus are now using it as part of their selling process. So it's been really fun the last couple of years to see video become a core part of what sales teams are doing. And my passion is really just helping people understand interesting ways to use it, because the tool itself is simple, right? Hit record, send a video, that's fine. But the real magic is in how you use it, right? How you actually take advantage of the power of video as a different style of medium, because it's, it has different characteristics, has different opportunities than text and social. And so how do you take advantage of the visual nature of it? How do you take advantage of its ability to convey body language and your personality? And how do you use visual cues to actually, get people's attention and make it more valuable? So that's where my head is coming from. And to answer your last point, my dear friend Thomas here, so we held, each year we have an awards program. And this year we added sales categories, and we had 5 different categories for the top video sellers in the market. And we had tons of submissions. It was actually really impressive. And we had different categories for using video as part of sales prospecting, the most creative and innovative use of video to stand down and win deals, use of video across sales teams. And it was really amazing and inspirational to see the things that came in. And my dear friend Thomas here was one of those who really stood out for his use of video throughout the entire buyer's journey. Which is one of the things I'd love to talk about, because we see a lot of people using it just for prospecting and saying, great, I got a response, I stood out and I got the answer. But what about from there, right? How do you continue to use it to accelerate the deal, to help you actually close things faster, to increase your close rates? And that was the one thing that I thought Thomas was doing incredibly well. And he was more than deserving of 2018 Video and Business Award.
Yay! Golf clap.
Thank you.
What do you think, Thomas? Were you a deserving recipient of the award, or were you just, playing your luck and submitting?
Oh, we know better than that.
I was definitely not playing my luck. I've been trying to hone in the Vidyard skill for about 1.5 years now. When I first saw the technology, made my first Vidyard, I looked at my VP of sales, who's right here, and I said, I'm going to become a Vidyard pro. And I looked him in the eyes and said it, and then I've tried to make Vidyards every day for about 1.5 years now. And
Wow.
I think I'm really starting to dial it in and get the results that I was hoping for 1.5 years ago.
I love it. I love it. You know, guys, Diane and I, we've talked about being practitioners. We're trying new things and we're using video. I'm teaching people, trying to compel them to use video. I love it so much because what I've seen video do for sellers is it's like putting your arms around your customers and bringing them closer to you faster than your competitors, but you're also shielding them from your competition because you're getting to know them quicker, faster. They feel you, they see you. But one of the things I will tell you, maybe you've experienced this with different sales teams or onboarding and stuff, but there's a lot of resistance to people. Sometimes people say, well, I'm not going to get a video. I'm not going to get a video because they think it has to be perfect. I don't like the sound of my voice. I want to lose 30 pounds. My hair is too gray. Like all sorts of stuff. But what I would love for each of you to sort of give some advice on is just how do you get started? I mean, I know we're going to get into some of the more advanced stuff, but for people who know they should be doing it, because that's what we're talking about, how should you get started? Like, what's some good advice to just get started on video?
So I'll kick off a couple things we've seen, and then I'd love to hear from your practice what your team is seeing, Thomas. A couple tips from my side is, first of all, like anything in sales, is just start doing it, right? Like practice always helps. And the good news is there's, free tools, and you don't have to go make a huge investment in technology and infrastructure. You can just start trying it out and doing it. And your first video is not going to be your best video. It never is. Neither is your 10th or your 100th video, right? You're always going to get better. And so I think one of those things is just try it, and don't feel like if the first few don't work or don't feel natural that it's a failure, right? It's a learning process, and it's something you got to get comfortable with. No different from when you started cold calling, right? That first cold call you made felt like shit, right? Like it, and the 10th one didn't feel great, but eventually it becomes a muscle and you feel a lot more comfortable with it, and then you become very effective with it. So I think trying it out, don't get discouraged. But I think the second thing is, to your point of, don't worry about being perfect. I think video is such a great platform to be natural, to be casual, to be yourself. And so don't overscript your message. Be human, be casual, and, communicate like you would be if you were actually talking face to face or you were having a phone call, right? Don't take an email script and port it to your video, right? Take what you would naturally say in conversation and bring that to your video. That's
so good. That's so important. And because there's something that, Thomas, I see you're standing up. This is a big hint. Diane and I sit down when we're talking, but we have a lot of energy in video. You have to work to put energy into video if you're sitting down, a lot harder than standing up. When you sit down, all your energy goes into the floor. So standing up to do a video is a huge improvement for people who don't naturally sort of have that rapport yet with the camera. If you're starting, I would suggest standing up.
So that's a great suggestion. So Thomas, when you looked Adam Lickeroth in the eye and said, I am going to become a Vidyard pro, where did you start? And then I'm also really interested in the journey of how you got, like what you worked on to get better.
Oh, good question.
Yeah, great question. So, and I'll tell you, when I look at the videos that I made a year and a half ago, I cringe at the quality of the videos and the way I was doing it. It was bad. And it's the same way. Tyler's exactly right that I would listen to my first cold calls that I ever made too. But I'll tell you that some of the basic things that are really helpful is, first of all, just having a whiteboard. That's one of the things that Vidyard preaches. And you can write people's names on it and wave, and that increases your click rate with the Giphy. Also, I'm in front of a window. Right behind the computer right here is a window. That really helps increase the natural light. Don't have light behind you, have it in front of you. And if you can do those couple of things, that makes it really helpful. Also, just knowing the customer, first of all, makes it easy. You know, when I first start videos, I'm like, hey, Mike, I saw you used to work at Graco. They're now a customer of ours. They weren't at this time. I was wondering if you'd like to see what they're up to now. I have some sales technology. Do you mind if I make you another video? And that's it. Boom. And that's the end of the video. And then I watch them click on it. And then when they click, I call. And that's it. But you just got to start making it and make 10 a day at the beginning. And it will take you a while.
When they click, you call. Is that what you said?
When they click, you call. And Vidyard is an awesome platform that gives you analytics and then shows you when they're engaging with your video. So you really don't need much other technology besides Vidyard to really get started.
Yeah, it's so telling. I love that feedback you get. I made a thank you video for someone. For an individual person, I made a thank you video after our meeting, and it had like 75 clicks. So I don't think she was the only person watching it. So I started thinking, why is she showing it to other people? Well, she's saying, wow, what a great blah, blah, blah. So my follow-up was I was able to respond accordingly. And with that follow-up, knowing what they were doing with it. So it's such good feedback.
Yeah, and our own sales team, not surprisingly, uses that quite a bit. And they'll actually intentionally, create and send videos of different lengths so that they can get a feel for the actual engagement as well. So sometimes they'll, if it's an early part of a prospecting cycle, they'll always keep their videos to 30 to 45 seconds, right? A quick, introductory conversation to get their attention. And in that case, what they're most interested in is, did they start watching my video, right? Whether they watch to the end or not, I know that they're engaged. And to your point, let's follow up quickly. But as they move through their cadence, they will sometimes, have longer videos, not like the 10-minute documentaries, but they might get into, 2 to 3 minute more educational content where maybe they're bringing up their website in a screen capture along with their face in the corner and talking through, I noticed you're doing this here, I think we could really help you there, and so on. And they're actually intentionally leaving it a little bit longer to see, because they'll actually know, did that person not only watch, but did they watch for 10 seconds or 1 minute or 2 minutes? And so they'll intentionally use it as a way to gauge engagement. And then they know that person that watched, for the full 2 minutes, that's the person I'm going to call. If somebody only watched 10 seconds and dropped off, then maybe I'll put them into a nurture program. So it's interesting when you have that mentality of actually knowing how long are people engaging in your message, right? Like, wouldn't it be nice when we get those notifications, they opened your email, if you actually knew they read 14 words out of the 200 you sent or whatnot, or you just can't do that with text, but with video you can. So it's kind of neat to start thinking like that. And that's kind of bleeding edge stuff to be thinking in actual engagement terms, but it's, I think it's a really important trend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so let's talk about that. I think a lot of people today, and especially I'm excited to hear about this from a marketer's perspective, but a lot of people talk about the buyer's journey, right? But I think, in today's world where people are more distracted and more self-involved and more, just distracted than ever before, I think it's what? I think it's really hard for a salesperson I think that's a nice thing to say, get in the buyer's journey, but I think it's harder and harder to decipher where somebody is. And it's not like it's a linear thing. It's not like I'm here and then I go here and then I'm back, how do you use video? How do you help your salespeople? And Thomas obviously has got a read on this already, but how do you meet somebody on the buyer's journey, and how do you think about the buyer's journey and then putting video into that strategy of reaching them where they are?
Well, I want to flip this on Tyler for a second, because he's VP of marketing, so he's a prospect, right? I'm not a prospect. When people call me, I'm like, you're calling the wrong guy, obviously.
Right.
Tyler, when people are reaching out to you at the beginning of a cycle, asking for your marketing budget, what's the engagement like, and how are they, do you have people who are making Vidyards for you, or do you have a huge percentage that are just sending you cold emails?
Well, after this, I'm going to be getting a lot of, Vidyard videos in my inbox. I have no doubt. But so I think the reality is, and to spin it back to that, kind of buyer's journey mentality, I think, as marketers, we got a little bit carried away with trying to structure and own the buyer's journey and say, oh, well, at the top of the funnel, this is what happens, in the middle, this happens, and then it's this. And that's just not, it's a romantic model to use to structure, what you're creating. But I think the reality is at every stage of the buyer's journey, you have to be interesting and relevant, of course. And that's where I think, having content that really stands out, just, video in itself is just inherently engaging and interesting, and how it has a curiosity factor and all those things. So, being interesting and relevant is necessary every stage of the buyer's journey. As is being educational and valuable. And we all know that. But I think, again, we get carried away with like, oh, if it's top of funnel, it needs to be awareness building and brandy. And it's like at the bottom of the funnel that it needs to be entirely educational, and they need that 80-page white paper to make a decision. And it's like, it's not, right? I think at every stage, it's about, you have to be a little bit interesting, you have to be highly relevant, and you need to deliver educational value. And so, when I'm out there marketing or I'm being prospected to, it's no different. It's like, look, if this is actually interesting and it stands out and I actually get some value from it, then I'll take a little bit of time to engage in it, right? But I still get the majority of sales messages I still get today don't offer any meaningful value in those first few touches, right? They're all like, hey, this is me. I helped this company do this. Can we talk for 15 minutes next week? I'm like, I don't give a shit about that other company. Every single business out there can say they helped at least 5 companies do amazing things, right? But like, come on, come on, right? So that's my thoughts on it.
That's interesting.
Well, I think in terms of like, we're still, as far as we've come, I think we're still, as business people, trapped in that industrial revolution mindset of let's mechanize, let's make it super efficient, let's do mass scale manufacturing, scale. Yeah. But I think we all have to market, and marketing now you can market one-on-one. That's what we should be doing with all these amazing tools we have, is just like we sell a one-on-one, now marketing can be one-on-one too. So, and then sales and marketing are in this kind of like mush meld right now.
We screwed things up for you guys as marketers. We totally screwed things up for good sellers out there, because we're flooding everybody's inbox with boatloads of shitty emails, right? We're like automating programmatic advertising and forcing people to turn on ad blockers. We ruined it for you guys. And so you actually have to be really good and really personal and really engagement, and not look like you're marketing or selling to them, because people they don't respond to that anymore. So you actually have to be human and show that you care and build a relationship. It's the only way to win now. And it's our fault, and I'm sorry.
So I want to ask Tyler this, because this is really interesting that you said that. So what do you think about, I know you have a SalesLoft integration, which is a sales engagement platform. I've heard rumors you're working on an outreach integration, which has become one of the leaders in that space. So where do you think that fits in the whole marketing sales mix and the sales automation with video? I mean, I'll tell you that I use outreach right now, and I use it strictly to track links and opens. And I run no sequences through it because, well, first of all, I sell enterprise sales. I can close 5 deals a year and hit my number, double my number, right? So I'm not trying to do quantity. I'm trying to do quality, build relationships with strategic champions inside accounts, right? Yeah. But I'm curious where you think all that fits together.
I think those are all systems of signals. They're tools that can provide the marketing and the sales team signals with respect to who's engaging in what, right? Kind of where are they at, and to feed us information that can then help us be the most personal, relevant, timely, and valuable when we need to, right? It's not about the fact that I can automate 15 emails over a 30-day period and hope to hell they respond, right? It's your point. I love the way you use it, because it's about dripping potential information to them through different channels, seeing if and when they're engaging and who's engaging, and then focusing your human time and energy on those people to absolutely, nail those individuals and say, the people I have a best chance at converting, because the signals are telling me they look and feel like the most engaged, they're the ones that I can go and say, I'm going to record a personalized video for them, right? I'm going to spend half an hour on their social channels learning as much as I can about them, finding out that they, you know, love the Minion movie, and I'm going to send them a case for their iPhone that's a Minion, whatever it is, right? So that's kind of the way I think about it.
Wow. Do you want to say something, Shawn? I have a question. Did you have something?
No, go ahead. I've got
Well, I'm just kind of blown away by this conversation. First of all, I've just never heard a marketer say anything like that to a salesperson. So I'm a little bit like my heart just stopped. It was awesome.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to say you were terrified.
No, I mean, marketers are usually pointing the fingers at salespeople, and salespeople are usually, I gave you all these leads. How'd you get them? And so, you know the story. Yeah. So I just think that's really cool. But what I found really as an aha moment, I'm sure everyone on this show's had it already, but that aha moment of being that one-to-one marketing that Vidyard allows you to be is you may have a plan or a strategy as a team of how you're going to deploy a video, but it really is a one-to-one experience. And it allows you to engage your natural genius, right? Like however you are, we had Jeremy Lavelle on, and he records videos of himself playing the guitar that he doesn't know how to play. I mean, that wouldn't work if I did that, but I mean, that would be stupid if Thomas did that, right? But it really allows you to be that marketer and engage your natural genius and use your personality, all the things that Shawn and I talk about. So that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here, I have a couple questions. So we're talking about getting started. So Thomas, I would love to know, how many times do you try something before you're like, well, that didn't work? You know? Or how long do you give something when you're trying something new, whether it's a different whiteboard message or I mean, personally, the whole screen while you're in the corner of the video, if I put someone's LinkedIn profile or their picture on their their picture and bio on the website, like that opens and converts like crazy. How many times do you try something before you're like, you know what, I got to move on, or you know that that's going to work?
So I think I touched on this in the results not insults video, but I did what Tyler's talking about as far as email automation, and this is before I really embraced Vidyard or had access to it, I think, where I pretty much maxed out my outbound inbox every day in Gmail, which I sent about 400 automated emails a day to prospects. And I did it with solid information I knew on the account. I would customize a template. I would know exactly what their tech stack was. I knew what trade shows they attended. I knew who was making what sort of decisions by scraping LinkedIn. But still the results were so bad. And unfortunately, I did it for a couple months before I completely had to reinvent myself as a salesperson in order to hit quota. But that one was a long one, but I'll do some things one time and be like, well, that was really bad and I'm just not doing it. So it definitely depends on the strategy and what tools I have access to on the time. I know that was kind of danced around the answer, but it used to take me 10 tries for every Vidyard. Now I do it in the first try every time pretty much, unless it's a longer one. Sometimes I bust out the whiteboard here. I got a rolling whiteboard and I bust this thing out and then I do strategy on it, which is cool. But those usually take longer with a few more tries because I'm doing, trying to lay out some complex marketing architecture and tech stack or whatever. But besides that, not much.
I think, to your point, one of the things that we see for those that aren't successful with it and maybe after a few tries they give up because they feel it's not the right medium is that they're trying sort of one style of video multiple times, and either it's just they turn on the camera and they're talking and they're like it's not working, or they're doing the whiteboard thing, which again this is what I do. I'd be like, hey, and the reason and this starts to elevate their game because the reason you're doing this is there's a visual thumbnail in their inbox. You can tell this isn't an automated message now. They did this just for me. So, but then, don't get stuck in that. Don't think it's all about just the whiteboard video, right? to your point, you can do screen captures with yourself in the corner where you might want to bring up their LinkedIn profile and be talking about, based on what I know about you and C here, I think I can help you with ABC. Bring up their website on the screen. Get creative with like bringing up a Google slide, and like type something in the slide, or like there's all sorts of creative things you can do to make the visual aspect of it, really shine through. And I love you actually have a rolling whiteboard there, Thomas, where you can do something a little bit more visual. And I've seen people that have like a whiteboard where they've just drawn and it's permanent now. And it's like a little diagram that illustrates what they do, and they just have it in the background so they can refer to it as they're talking. So lots of things like that
cool.
People just aren't really used to it yet, of getting creative with video. It's like the haikus in emails, when we started to get creative in email and started to write haikus, which was great for like 2 days. And then but it's a similar thing, right? Like in video, it's like there's lots of cool ways you can be creative. You can bust out the guitar and sing a song like Jeremy does.
So what are some of the no-nos? And then I want to skip into a little bit of, you have some paid tools as well, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about what makes the paid tools worth paying for, because I think it's important to know what is out there. But first of all, what are some of the absolute no-nos about video?
Absolute no-nos.
There are none. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I'd say that a lot of them are the same no-nos with other mediums, right? Like it's not about you, it's about them, right? Don't use video to talk about yourself. And you may be more inclined to do that because you're looking at yourself in the camera and you're like, ah. So I'd say, make sure it continues to be about them and not about you. Make sure that your sort of bad audio is a no-no for me. So audio is actually more important than the visuals in many cases, right? Like we can watch something for a long time if it has good audio, but not if it is bad. If it has good audio, but not bad. So make sure you got good audio. And then, things like, lighting can make a difference. Thomas, you're actually in a way better spot than I am. I'm in a room with some really bad lighting for video. And so, being in front of the window instead of, the other way, things like that go a long way. So I think it's a lot of those little things of, they're not necessarily no's, but they're little things you can do to really make it a lot better. What have you found, Thomas?
Yeah, I'd say exactly what you said. Audio is good. Obviously, I have a headset here. Sometimes the technical things with the video go a long way, right? Lighting, audio, standing. I mean, those three things alone are really awesome. Also, camera height. So you don't want the camera under you. My camera is almost exactly at eye level, and I prop it up specifically for Vidyard.
I want to see your nose hairs. No.
With the book. Also, I mean, you just got to it's just like a cold call, right? You're just trying to get to the next commitment. So as I said before, you left this company and I wondered if you're doing this right now. And you also, I try and shoot with the rifle now instead of a shotgun. So I know their technology stack that they're using today. I know exactly how many outside salespeople who would be using Modus technology, how many they have in their organization. I know what their job titles are. I know what they sell. And if I know all those things, then you'd almost would have to be crazy for not let me make you another video, right? I know you used to work here. Now you have an outside sales team. You're in manufacturing. You have people in the field, and you use Salesforce. And I know that it's hard to get CRM adoption with an outside sales team, and we can help with that. Can I make you another 90-second video on how we do that? I mean, you got it. You got to let me do it. So
that's your request, is not, can I have a conversation with you, but is it okay if I make another video for you?
I love it. I don't
want to have a call with somebody who hasn't seen our platform. So
you are so badass.
So
I like it.
If they've seen a 90-second video and they're interested, and then they show up to an hour-long call with an interest, they're going to bring more of a team on board. They're going to have forwarded my video to everybody else, and we're not going to waste an hour of a VP of Marketing's time because we know they're busy, right? Tyler said he didn't have time for his podcast earlier. We don't want to take time away from him. We want to make sure he's doing his job more efficiently, and I'm going to do that throughout the sales process, and I'm going to do it with their platform.
Yeah.
I'm going to commit right here on camera. Anybody watching this, if you send me a GoVideo and your call to action is, instead of, can I get a 15-minute call with you, is, can I make you another video? If I actually open your email and go through and watch it, I will take you up on the offer to send me another video. So I hope to see my inbox flooded with wonderful things like that. I think that's an amazing CTA, and I'm going back to tell my sales team to do the same thing. Thank you, Thomas.
That's
amazing.
Small increments. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this isn't necessarily a surprise, but I'm doing some research. I started this. I did an informal poll of clients and CFOs and COOs and people who had budgets to spend, and asked them, what was the number one thing that salespeople do that irritate you? And I got kind of all similar responses, but the one thing that they didn't say, no one said, I wish salespeople would just drop dead and not call me. No one said that. What they said was, I want them to be better at their job. I want them to know why they're calling me, what relevance they have. I want them to know my business. So to your point about the whiteboards and what you're doing, the faster that you can do that, the faster you can show up and show people that you've done your homework and you've done your research, the more, not just conversion, but the more you beat out every single other person who's trying to reach that person too. So, yeah. Vidyard and video is awesome as a category. Vidyard is this amazing tool that you can do that with in multiple ways. Thomas, you've demonstrated that. Tyler, what are some other things you want people to know about Vidyard?
So the free tool is just Vidyard GoVideo, and you can find it. It's a Chrome extension. You can use it to record and send unlimited number of videos and get the notifications on who's watching. And so, go grab it now, Vidyard GoVideo, just search for it.
And you can connect it through Outlook too, by the way. It's not just a Gmail thing.
Yeah.
That's right. There's direct plugins for Gmail and Outlook. And yeah, what's really nice there is it's just one click to drop the thumbnail image of the video into the email. You can make it an animated GIF as well, so that it gives a little bit of motion in the email and send it off. And, it's just meant to be really simple and really efficient. So that's the free version. And then, as was mentioned, there's a enterprise or team version, which unlocks additional capabilities that are relevant for businesses who want to take advantage of it at greater scale. The first thing is it allows you to fully customize the pages that the videos play back on. So by default, it's just a blank page with a little Vidyard logo. But again, as your team gets going with it, you want to make sure that as your sales reps are sending them, in Thomas's case, the page they play back on are a nice Modus branded page, and you would have your own calls to action, things like that. You can add calls to action to the ends of your videos. So a lot of sales reps will add like a Calendly or some other a Chili Piper or something as a calendar invite right at the end of the video. So as soon as they watch, there's an immediate thing to book a meeting, and they can do that. So that's part of the enterprise version. And then you also unlock a lot of the administrative capabilities. So one of the things I really like is then as a sales leader, if you've got a bunch of sales reps using it and sending videos out, you have no way to know what they're actually sending or do audits on them. Again, with the team version, you have access to the admin console where you can go into each of their accounts. You can spot check the videos that they're sending. Hopefully use that to provide constructive criticism on how they could do better. But you also then start to get analytics on who's sending how many videos, who's getting the highest engagement in their videos versus the lowest. And some of that, again, can help you coaching your team and understanding who's being the most effective with it. And then the last piece is it can integrate into Salesforce to make sure all that data is going into Salesforce. So you've got records in each account on who's been, who have you sent videos to and who's actually engaged. And then the nice thing there is you can tie it back to reporting, and you can actually say, oh, we know that these videos help to influence these deals or whatnot. So those are a bunch of the kind of nice perks of the enterprise version. But if you're not using it today, start out with the free version, just get going with it, give it a shot, and check out some of the resources on our site for best practices.
That's cool.
Yeah, lots of resources on the website. Don't underestimate that.
Yeah.
So just really quick, I know Shawn has a sort of back of the envelope question to kind of kick us out of this, but you got to pose no question. So why did Thomas win?
So Thomas has been, he's actually been now I think a seasoned pro. He mentioned you've been using GoVideo for almost 2 years now, and it was very shortly I think after it came out that you adopted it. And so, but I think the big thing for Thomas was the effectiveness and the results he's been seeing by using video throughout that whole buyer's journey. And so again, we talked a lot about using it for prospecting, but Thomas, we loved the stories you told about, how you're using it to actually, follow up on calls and recap things with customers, to do customized demos of screen captures, to actually use it to send, proposals and things like that. Could you just maybe really quickly kind of share kind of how you use it?
Yeah. So I'll do the mini case study that I sent you essentially. So I'm an enterprise software sales, as I said before. So I'm dealing with large organizations with a complex sale. My biggest win this year was a company in the welding industry. And the guy who actually drove the idea of implementing our platform, I never met. I know his name, and I know that he wanted an initiative like ours. And so all I could do was interact with some people who worked below him. My coworker, I scraped her LinkedIn profile, found somebody who worked there, thought it could be a prospect, made him a video, and then we tracked the engagement on it. And it just went bananas, right? It went to India, it went to Maryland, it went to Sweden. So we knew there was huge traction going on. And before we even had a conversation, we already got buy-in from all the marketing leadership there. And that's from a 90-second demo video, right? So imagine getting all those people on all those different time zones on a phone call. It's almost impossible. They're so busy.
Yep.
And they don't have time to vet a platform. And even if you did get on a phone call, how effective is that? And are they all going to be able to, chat and talk about you in context? So it was, and generated my first six-figure opportunity as a salesperson. And also I use it to do demo recaps. So we just chatted about us integrating with your digital asset management system. Let me show you again how that works so you can share it with your team or reference this at a later date. Here it is. Here's a proposal we're going through. Here's why you're paying for this much licensing and this customization work. And then I'm tracking engagement on all that. And I know that there's a red flag, strategic selling, there's a red flag in the sales process of someone who used to be a champion now doesn't engage in my videos anymore. That's an issue, and that's them raising their hand, and then I can be proactive as a salesperson to address it, use my strengths to minimize the red flag, and continue a flawless sales process.
Art plus science. It's just beautiful.
It's so gorgeous when it's done. I just love it. I mean, we talk about video all the time, and I think that we've only just scratched the surface on the power of video in sales. In fact, Shawn and I called it the visual economy of sales. We believe that the people that really get and nail visuals and personality and engaging your natural genius to connect on a human to human level is where, first of all, it's where humans win over AI. I don't believe, if AI really can take your job as a salesperson, then you probably don't deserve your job as a salesperson. But these things that are at our behest these days are just so powerful. So I'm blown away by that, Thomas. That's fantastic. All right, Shawn, what you got?
Okay, so we usually ask a question that's very thought-provoking, sometimes difficult. I remember what we asked you, Thomas, but that will come to me later. But I actually can't believe I haven't asked this one yet. So today, Tyler, you're actually going to put on a sales superhero cape. And the question is, if you could be a sales superhero fighting the crime of blank, what would that be?
I would be, I got to think of a good name for him or her. But I'll be Personal Pete. And Personal Pete is going to be fighting the injustice of impersonal communications coming from sales reps and automated systems around the world to make the sales economy a more personal and human place.
I love that. Personal
Pete. That.
That's great.
All right. Well,
Thomas, you have to answer this one too.
There goes Personality Pete. I'm like Personal Pete.
All right, Thomas, you have to answer it too.
I think I'd be Silly Steve, so I can bring joy to the some of the monotonous tasks of marketers.
Mission accomplished. Well done.
Yeah. Okay. That's your next video idea. You need a green screen behind you, and like, you lay on a stool and pretend like you're flying. Have a fan blowing you.
Oh, that's
awesome.
good.
Right.
Gonna get right on that. Just text my team now. Do it.
Clear my calendar. I need a set.
Oh gosh, exactly. I love that both your answers just reinforce all that what video does for you, and also what an experience for a buyer and with a great sales experience should be. It should be an experience that's memorable, that's got personality and fun and humor in it. It's like, God help us. It's one of the things Diane and I said we started the show, like, do all business shows have to be soul-sucking boring? Oh, that's just terrible, right? So both your answers really are important about what it is to be human. It's personal, empathetic, fun, humorous, like all those things bring us together now. So thank you for playing along, Personal Pete and Silly Steve. That's not going to go away anytime soon, by the way.
No, not anytime soon. Well, Tyler and Thomas, we are so grateful for your time. We know that you are very busy people making very important things happen for your company, and that you took some time out of your day to be with us and share this knowledge. I just think it makes such a huge difference for the people that are kind of stuck in a job wondering how they're going to move the needle next. So we really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for being givers. That's awesome. And sharing. And we hope everyone watching has some great takeaways from all the plethora of stuff you've given to put into action today. Like, that's a beautiful thing, is you can go download Vidyard GoVideo on Chrome or use Outlook, whatever, today, and just start, right? Just start.
Do it.
All right.
Start.
Well, we're going to kick this out. Diane and I close the show by saying the same thing every time, which is
Stop hoping
and start selling.
That's right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.